Russia, I indicated, is a geopolitical foe. Not a,
Number one,
excuse me, it's a geopolitical foe. And I said in the same paragraph, I said, and Iran is the greatest national security threat we face. Russia does continue to battle us in the UN time and time again. I have clear eyes on this. I'm not going to wear rose-colored glasses when it comes to Russia or Mr. Putin. And I'm certainly not going to say to him, I'll give him more flexibility after the election. After the election, he'll get more backbone.
A few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia. Not al-Qaeda, you said Russia. In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back because, the Cold War has been over for 20 years. But, Governor, when it comes to our foreign policy, you seem to want to import the foreign policies of the 1980s, is strong, steady leadership, not wrong and reckless leadership that is all over the map.
Can you speak to what prompted the president to order this review of Russian hacking into the presidential election?
Sure, Darlene, and we should just clarify that the president earlier this week instructed the intelligence community to conduct a full review of the pattern of malicious cyber activity related to our presidential election cycle. So he's requested this report be completed and submitted to him before the end of his term.
That there have been some assessments made that this might have been a Russian hack. What I can tell you without commenting on the specifics is that there are a lot of countries out there that are trying to hack into our stuff. Governmental databases, but also private sector databases and non-for-profit databases. And this is why we've stood up such an aggressive effort to strengthen our cybersecurity. And we have provisions in place where if we see evidence of a malicious attack by a state actor, we can impose potentially certain proportional penalties. But that requires us to really be able to pin down and know what we're talking about.
In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back because the Cold War has been over for 20 years. But, Governor, when it comes to our foreign policy, you seem to want to import the foreign policies of the 1980s.
In terms of how it affects our relationship with Russia, look, I think we've already got a lot of differences with Russia on a whole bunch of issues. But I think that we've been able to try to stay focused on those areas where we still have a common interest, understanding that we have deep disagreements on issues like Ukraine, but perhaps, potentially, we have an interest in bringing an end to violence in Syria. How do we balance those issues? That's pretty standard statecraft at this point with Russia. If, in fact, Russia engaged in this activity, it's just one on a long list of issues that me and Mr. Putin talk about and that I've got a real problem with. And so I don't think that it wildly swings what is a tough, difficult relationship that we have with Russia right now. But it's not going to stop us from still trying to pursue solutions so that we can, for example, implement the Minsk agreement and get Russia and those separatists to lay down arms and stop bullying Ukraine. That's not going to stop us from trying to make sure that we can bring a political transition inside of Syria that can end the hardship there.